Welkom in my Afrikaanse klas, graad 12's, Poppie die drama. Ons is besig daarmee. Ons gaan nou, in hierdie les gaan ons kyk na tyd, time, conflict, and milieu, or space, where this drama plays out. Goed, kom ons begin dadelik. Onthou, daar's twee tipes tye waarna ons moet kyk. Die vertelde tyd en die verteltyd. Die vertelde tyd is the span of time over which the story plays out. And this story takes about a century from where the great-great-great-grandmother was born until the uprisings in 1967. So, vertel dit tyd, if you can associate it with the rainbow, it's over a long period of time in this situation. Verteltyd means it's the time that it will take you to tell the story. Now, this story, if you think it's more than a century, we can't do all of that. So when we tell the story, it takes, it's condensed. Dis gekondenseer tot 2 bedrywe. So if you have it in a theatre, it will probably take an hour and a half to tell the whole story, or 2 hours. All right. So please get this very clear in your minds. Die vertelde tyd, so the time in which the story plays out in years, and die verteltyd is hoe dit oorgedra word as 'n drama binne 2 ure, for instance. Goed, conflict. You know by now, there's something like inner conflict and external conflict. So, kom ons kyk gou-gou. You can just imagine the inner conflict that was caused by apartheid. The turmoil, the oppression. This was also the time of Sharpeville, the shooting incidents in Langa. And all of this is related to the Dompastelsel, or the passtelsel, paswetstelsel. Now, if you don't know the history of these 2 incidents, then I think you must do a bit of research. Sharpeville, people went for a peaceful protest to the police station, and it turned out violent, and over 60 people were killed. The same more or less was true with the Langa shootings. And then, of course, in 1967, we have this uprising that started in Soweto. Can you imagine all the heartache, die hartseer, die vrees, die onrus wat daar in soveel mense se harte was in hierdie tyd. And then, of course, can you imagine, during this uprising, Vukile, hy was getref deur 'n klip wat in Poppie se huis ingegooi is. En die klip het hom net op so 'n manier getref dat hy onmiddellik dood was. Maar sy het dit nie besef nie. Sy het hom sien lê, die gehoor het die idee gehad dat iets is verkeerd met die kind, maar sy het dit nie besef nie, en sy het hom op haar rug getel en hom vasgemaak, en later eers, toe een van haar broers vra, maar hoekom is Vukile so stil? Toe kom hulle agter hy is dood. The absolute heartache of losing a child, a baby, in this way. So daar was baie omstandighede, circumstances, wat verskriklike innerlike konflik geskep het. Kom ons gaan aan. Uiterlik was dit 'n gewelddadige omgewing. It was a violent place. So, whether it was Nyanga or Soweto or Guguletu or Alexandra or wherever, there was a potential for extreme violence. And we know that it's true. There was this lifelong agony in a way. On the one side, they wanted to protect their children. That's any parent's dream, just to protect. I want to protect my child. Ek wil my kind beskerm. Ek wil my kind opvoed. Ek wil my kind ordentlike kos gee. Ek wil my kind laat leer. That was their deepest desire. And up to a point, they fought against the darkness, the forces of darkness that just came into the situation. Daar's soveel uitvloeisels van hierdie beleidsstelsel wat mense forceer het om regtig 'n lewe van vrees te leef. En wat so ongelooflik is meeste diep gelowige mense. Deeply religious people that is just trying to do the best by their children. Of course, if you are religious, if you believe in God, then you will also struggle with these questions. Where is God in this situation? Why does he allow it? Which created a lot of doubt in many people's hearts. So daar was baie twyfel en baie vrae. Maar baie van hulle het baie standvastig gebly. To this day, you can't understand it, but still deeply religious, trusting God for the best. Kom ons kyk gou-gou na 2 vrae. Bespreek Poppy se innerlike konflik toe sy as jong vrou in 1956 Lambert's Bay moes verlaat. So remember, she had to now leave because of the laws. She couldn't stay in Lambert's Bay. Verwys na albei kante van die konflik. So look at both sides. So here's the answer. Poppy het na haar mense verlang. Okay, she stayed behind for a little bit with Stone when her mom and her second husband and their children moved to Nyanga. Maar sy wou nie haar man in Lambert's Bay agterlaat nie. She didn't want to leave Stone. She wanted to stay with him. Sy wou nie gaan nie, but she started feeling very unsafe because of the laws that was in play then. She was also arrested once. Many of the people that lived in the street where she and Stone lived already moved, so she was by herself. Sy het huise is afgebrand en sy was alleen in die straat oor. And she didn't feel safe. So hier gee hulle vir julle 'n aanduiding van hoe hulle sou die vraag sou merk. So jy moet aan die een kant sê hoekom sy graag in Lambert's Bay wou bly. She had the desire to stay with her husband, but on the other side she didn't feel safe anymore. She longed for her mother and her brothers. So both sides of the inner conflict in Poppy's life. Here's another one. Verduidelik die innerlike konflik wat Poppy ervaar toe mamma vir haar sê, jou swaar is nie die swaarste nie. So, the heavy load that you carry is not the heaviest. All right? So that's a powerful thing to say. Aan die een kant het sy haar kinders baie gemis. So on the one side, she really missed her children. And it bothered her that she was not with them. Dit het haar gepla dat haar kinders nie by haar was nie. Alright, so that's the one side. Aan die ander kant was hulle weg van die opstande. So the other side of the coin was, they were not exposed to the riots. And they still lived, they were still alive, where many other parents' children has already died, were shot dead. So, dis weer daai ding van aan die een kant, maar aan die ander kant. So that's what they want when they ask a question like this. Goed, kom ons kyk na die ruimte waar hierdie storie afspeel. As ons nou begin by die begin, haar voorsate kom ergens uit Afrika. Haar man se mense is in die Ciskei op Herschel. Haar ouma en haar ma het op die ouend op Lambert's Bay, onthou haar ma het by die visfabriek gewerk, haar ouma het by haar ma gebly, en dan gaan hulle in Yanga toe, by die Kaapse vlakte, dan trek sy Ciskei toe, spesifiek Mdantsane. Hoekom? Want daar was 'n huis vir haar, en haar kinders kon skool toe gaan. Na Stone se dood, gaan sy terug Kaap toe. En dis waar die storie dan eindig. So julle kan sien, bloot net as ons kyk na die plekke waar Poppy was, kan ons sien Poppy swerf. Poppy se storie is een van trek van plek na plek, gaan na plek na plek. Goed. Op die verhoog is dit baie interessant die ruimte wat hulle skep op die verhoog. Hulle noem dit 'n binnetoneel. So it's an inside scene. The only way that it's differentiated is with lighting, beligting. They use the same decor, they use the same props. For instance, they've got these little bankies. So op die een plek word dit 'n bed waarop iemand lê, op die ander plek is dit mense wat in die kerk sit. So they use all these props to create different scenes. But it's the same space on the stage. Daar's kostuums, bietjie grimering en byklanke. En wat so interessant is, hierdie laaste punt, the appearance of the characters changes in front of your eyes. For instance, Poppy as a young girl is slim and then as she grows older, she becomes a little bit bigger, and they do that with layers of clothing and a hat or a kopdoek of so die appearance, die voorkoms van die karakters verander ook soos hulle ouer word. En dis baie interessant, hulle het eintlik 'n baie klein cast, want baie van die karakters vertolk meer as een rol. So dis regtig 'n kragtoer. It's really something very special to see and experience. Goed, daar's ook 'n buiteruimte. As jy nou dink aan die storie, kom ons vat nou byvoorbeeld die Soweto uprising, die Jene, nou kan ek nie op die woord kom nie. Opstande. Hulle kan dit nie op die verhoog opvoer nie. They can't do that on stage. So dit is nie sigbaar op die verhoog nie. You can't see it, but you can hear it. So wat gebeur is met beelde, images and sounds, they will place die gehoor, die mense waarna wat kyk na die storie, word in die situasie geplaas met klanke. So ons sal 'n beeld sien van Hector Peterson wat met die kind hardloop wat dood is, of ons sal in die situasie geplaas word met beelde en klanke. Die historiese konteks sal vir ons geskep word. En natuurlik sit ons almal in die gehoor. We are all in the audience with some pre-knowledge of what the situation was. So we're not ignorant when we watch the play. And then of course the intertextual references, die verwysings na die Bybel. Al daai goed is deel van die ruimte wat geskep word. Ek hoop julle het so 'n bietjie meer begrip van tyd, konflik en ruimte. Ons sal weer daaroor praat as ons bietjie kyk na vrae. So ek hoop daar's nog 'n stukkie van die legkaart in die prentjie tot ek julle weer sien.